Hey, how's it going, guys? If you're watching this video, then you probably just finished taking your licensing course, so congratulations on that. In this video, I'm going to be going over what I did in order to pass the real estate licensing exam on my first try. And don't get me wrong, I'm by no means a good test taker, so if I'm able to do it, then so can you. Usually the licensing course that you take will provide you with an outline for what will be on the national and state portion of the exam. But if for some reason it doesn't, just go online and search it up. Knowing what will be on the exam will make it easier for you to come up with a study plan, because you can figure out what you need to study for and what you don't need to study for. Now that you know everything that you need to study for, what I suggest is that you give yourself 2 weeks to study for the exam. No more, no less. 2 weeks is all that you're going to need in order to pass the exam on your first try. And that's if you follow everything that I'm about to tell you. For the first week, all that I did was study the vocabulary for the exam. And I continued to study the vocabulary every day leading up to the exam. You're probably wondering to yourself, wouldn't it be better to start off by taking practice tests? And my answer to that is no. And here's why. When you're taking a practice test that's multiple choice, there's usually 3 wrong answers and only 1 right answer. It's not good to be looking at all those wrong answers, especially when you're beginning to study for the exam, because when you take the actual exam, you're gonna have a hard time remembering what's wrong and what's right. So pretty please, with a cherry on top, spend at least 30 minutes a day studying the vocabulary for the national and state portion of the exam. Another thing that I would do every day to study for the exam was watch one prep agent video, which typically are around 30 minutes to an hour long. Joe, who goes under the name Prep Agent, is an absolute godsend. I honestly would not have been able to pass the exam on my first try if it weren't for the videos that he makes. Joe explains things in a way that makes it easy for you to understand, so there's absolutely no reason for you not to watch his videos to study for the exam. I've included a link to his YouTube channel in the description down below. The next thing you will need to do is get a prep book for the exam. The prep book that I use is called Real Estate License Exams for Dummies, which is very fitting for me. I got this book for less than $10 on Amazon, so if you want to get it, I included a link to it in the description down below. This prep book has 18 chapters in it that go over all of the material that'll be on the national portion of the exam. There's also 525 online flashcards that'll help you study for the vocabulary, and not to mention, there's 4 practice tests at the end of this book. I would read 2 chapters from this book a day, which would take me around an hour, and then once I finished reading all the chapters in this book, I had 5 days left before the day of the exam. As I mentioned before, there are 4 practice tests in this book, so I would take 1 practice test a day, leaving me with 1 day left before the day of the exam. On the day before the exam, I made sure to spend most of my time relaxing. The only thing that I did that day was go over all of the questions that I got wrong on the practice tests, as well as going over all of the flashcards in my prep book. Some other things that you can do the day before the exam is to get a good 8 hours of sleep, as well as preparing everything that you will need to bring with you to the testing center so that you're not forgetting anything last minute. When you're sitting behind the computer about to take your exam, take a deep breath and remind yourself about all of the time and effort that you put into preparing for this exam. You're ready to pass this exam. You know it, and I know it. If you follow everything that I discussed in this video, then you will pass the real estate licensing exam on your first try without a doubt. I really hope that this video was helpful for you all, and I wish you all the best of luck in your real estate career.